The views and opinions expressed in the DILLIGAF podcast are those of the host alone and are not intended to express those of any other person, business, or entity. The DILLIGAF podcast is for entertainment only. These are my opinions and should not be interpreted as facts or advice. Think for yourself.
Keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah. I think that we've all had enough.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the DILLIGAF podcast, talking about anything and everything that interests me. If it makes me think, laugh, cry, scream, rage, or say, what the fuck, you're going to hear about it. I want to thank everybody for checking out the show. My name's Tom. I am your host. Make sure you follow, like, subscribe, share, comment, rate. All that stuff really does help the show out a lot. Make sure you're following on social media. It's at DILLIGAF_pod on all social media platforms. And if you ever want to shoot me an email, it's DILLIGAF_. Let me try that again. It's DILLIGAFpod@gmail.com. Yes, I'm sure that's correct. And you can find all of that stuff at my link tree, which is linktree/DILLIGAF_pod, or scan the little QR code right there in the corner of the screen. And you can find links to all the socials, all the podcast platforms, YouTube, and all that kind of fun stuff. So today we're talking some politics. Like I said in my little preview video earlier this week, I must be out of my goddamn mind to even touch on any of this stuff, but fuck it, we're gonna do it. So and of course, like usual, like I've been doing the last couple of episodes, the whole thing's gonna be posted on TikTok. God only knows what kind of warning labels will be slapped on it or any of that kind of stuff, so we'll see how long it lasts. But yeah, let's get into it. It's 2024. We got a presidential election coming up here in the US this year in just a few months, coming up in November. And yeah, a lot of crazy shit going on. One of the candidates, Donald Trump, former president, was apparently there was apparently an attempt on his life recently, and he got, grazed in the ear, supposedly. Truthfully, I think the whole thing was staged. Yes, I know an innocent person lost their life in this. And to me, that just goes to show you the extent that these people will go to. Because I 100% believe that it was staged. I do. And then, you see Trump coming out at the Republican convention with this huge bandage on the side of his head, when it was supposedly this is a little graze wound, but I mean, come on. 2 seconds later, he's standing up, pumping his fist in the air, and all this kind of crap. I'm sorry, that is a load of garbage, because that's not how that stuff works with the Secret Service when there is an attempt on a politician's life. Okay, they are covered and they are literally carried out of the area and thrown into a car, and they're gone. Okay, they don't get the chance to pose for pictures with their fist up in the air or any of that kind of crap. Just doesn't happen. Go back and look at the attempt on Ronald Reagan's life. As soon as shots were heard, Secret Service literally threw him into the back of a car and he was gone. So the whole thing just doesn't sit right with me. I'm not saying it was fake. Obviously, like I said, an innocent man lost his life trying to protect his family, which should never happen. It just, to me, the whole thing was just ridiculous. And yeah, there's too many questions surrounding it for it to be legitimate in my mind. It's my opinion. That's what I think. But yeah, and in addition to that, the current president, President Biden, has dropped out of the race, will not be seeking re-election. And to me, that's a good thing. I mean, the man is already in his 80s. And if he gets reelected, he's going to be pushing 90 when he gets out of office. I'm sorry, no. I mean, he's already shown how absent-minded he has become. in his old age, and that's I mean, that's a common thing. I'm not poking fun at him specifically. That's just getting old. It's going to happen to all of us. It's going to happen to me. It's going to happen to every single one of you out there watching. So, it just, it's a thing. You get old, you forget shit. Stuff gets mixed up. Your mind starts to go to some degree. It doesn't have to mean you have dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that. It just the mind slows down along with the rest of the body the older you get. And Trump is not a spring chicken either. You know, I mean, if he were to get elected, he'd be in his 80s by the time he got out of office. So, uh, the fact that Biden bowed out of the race, good on him. It was the best thing he could have done, honestly. And now apparently we're going to have the vice president Kamala Harris taking his place as the Democratic nominee. Honestly, I view this as a very good thing too. We need. I actually think Biden said it best. We need to pass the torch to the younger generation to run the country because that I'm a firm believer, number one, in term limits for politicians. Like President already has term limits. They can run, they can serve 2 terms and that's it. That needs to be extended into Congress because some of these people have been there way too long. I mean, for God's sake, Strom Thurmond, I'm going a little bit back into history with this, but Strom Thurmond served till he was like 100 years old as a senator for South Carolina. That should never happen. There not only need to be term limits, there need to be age limits for politicians, for senators and congress people and presidents. Like, I'm sorry, once you hit a certain age, there should be a mandatory retirement age from holding government office. It's just what I think people are going to say. That's discriminating against people because of their age, but it's what I think. There should be a mandatory retirement age for government offices. But yeah, before I got off on that little tangent, Kamala Harris is going to be running on the Democratic side for president, and she will be the first woman of color to run for president. That's a big deal. It wasn't that long ago, really wasn't, that women didn't even have the right to vote, that Black people didn't have the right to vote or any rights at all. So now we see a woman of color running for the highest office in the land. That's huge. So good luck to her, but I mean, honestly, I don't identify as a Democrat or a Republican. Truthfully, I think they're all out of their fucking minds. All politicians are full of shit. I mean, they're politicians. They're all full of shit. They're all liars. They all say whatever the people want to hear if they think it will get them into office. Because all of the promises that these people make, especially when they're running for president, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Half of the shit that they promise does not fall into the scope of the president's power. President can't arbitrarily do anything. If they want to pass a law, it still has to go through Congress. Yes, there are certain things that they can do through executive action, executive orders, and that kind of thing, but it's limited. So a lot of the stuff that they promise to do, they can't do it. They can introduce it, they can suggest it. They can't just snap their fingers and make it happen. It doesn't work that way. But even with all that being said, honestly, it's all irrelevant anyway, because I'm going to go back to my favorite comedian slash philosopher of the 20th century, Mr. George Carlin. This country was bought and sold and paid for long time ago. The bullshit that gets shuffled around every 4 years is meaningless. It means nothing. And everybody says, oh, well, you have an obligation to vote and everything. Bullshit. Okay, I don't vote. I don't. And I'm going to tell you why I don't vote. Number one, I have never in my life, since I became of legal voting age, never seen a single candidate to where I say, yes, I want that person as president and I'm going to go and cast my vote for them. It has never happened because they're, again, all full of shit, and it, and let's be honest. People like to say every vote counts. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. The Electoral College makes sure of that every vote does not count because our presidents are not elected by popular vote. They're elected by the Electoral College. If you don't know how that works, this is just a very, very basic, simplified explanation. Each state has a certain number of what they call electoral votes. Okay. And as the votes come in that state, let's just say state X has 20 electoral votes. Okay. So as the votes come in for state X, if they get, say, I don't know, 3 million votes for one candidate and 1 million votes for the other candidate, well, then that first candidate with the 3 million votes, they get all 20 of those electoral votes in that state. So what happens to the million people that voted for the other guy, the other person? They don't count. They don't count. So, you cannot sit here with a straight face and tell me every vote counts because they don't. It's as simple as that. And, again, voting's meaningless anyway. I don't know any other way to put it because, like I said, the crap that gets shuffled around every few years, every time there's an election, it doesn't mean anything. When's the last time any individual, be it a president or even at a lower level, a governor or a mayor, when's the last time any individual made any significant change? They haven't. The last president that I believe truly tried to do things to improve this country was JFK, and they killed him for it. Think any president after that's going to try to do anything groundbreaking? Hell no. So I don't believe voting works. I think the election process is broken. It needs to be fixed. If there ever comes a time where every single vote counts, then maybe I'll start voting if they start introducing some candidates that are worth voting for. I've yet to see any. The whole process, the way this country is governed, is broken, and because it's things are not done in the best interests of the people. They're done in the best interests of the ones that have all the money. Because, like I said, this country was bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. It's corporations and shit like that runs everything. They're the ones that get people put into office who are best going to serve their needs. It's not about the needs of the average people in the country like me, like whoever else out there might be watching or listening to this. And again, these are my opinions. You can agree with me, you can disagree with me, that's fine. Drop me some comments, let me know what you think, or shoot me an email or whatever. But again, it's my opinion. Like it says at the beginning of the show, like I remind y'all every week, think for yourself, form your own opinions, make your own observations. These are my opinions based on things that I've observed and experienced in my life. And yes, there have been presidents that have done good things for the economy. That seems to be the thing that most people are concerned with, the economy, how well we're living. And granted, that's an important thing. People want to be able to live comfortably. They want to have food on their table and a roof over their head and clothes on their back and a job to earn money to maintain all of those things. So if the economy is good and everybody has all that stuff going for them, or most everybody, I don't think there's ever been a time in history where everybody was, able to provide for themselves. It's just not a thing. There's always going to be people out there in bad situations. But that's always the most important thing that most people look at. And but like I said, most of the things that these people promise during their campaigns, they can't deliver on. It's not that they won't, it's they can't. That's not within the scope of their power. Simple as that. And I don't think a lot of people realize that. The president can't arbitrarily pass laws. The president can't arbitrarily just make something happen. Like I said, they do have certain executive powers. They can issue certain executive orders, but it's limited. If you want, anything major to happen, it's got to go through Congress. It's got to pass through the House of Representatives. It's got to pass through the Senate. And, of course, they're going to add on their own little whatever they want to whatever bills pass through, any addendums and riders and whatever else that's not even related to the bill itself, like well, let's tack on a raise for ourselves to this bill. What? And that I'm just giving examples, but the there's so much red tape and bullshit that stuff has to go through before anything can happen with it. It's utterly ridiculous. The governmental process in this country is severely flawed. The election process is severely flawed. And let's be real. I'll say it again. None of it matters. It's meaningless. The crap that they parade out in front of us every 4 years is exactly that. It's crap. I mean, come on. You're really going to tell me that, Trump and Biden were the best that this country had to offer 4 years ago? And like I said a minute ago, I don't vote. And some people, they become just appalled at that. Like, oh, how can you not vote? It's your responsibility. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's my right. I'm choosing not to exercise it because I don't think there's anything out there worth voting for. And a lot of people like to say, well, if you don't vote, you have no right to complain. Fuck you. If you do vote, you have no right to complain. And again, this comes from George Carlin, and it's completely true. If you vote, you have no right to complain, because if you vote, you are responsible for the bullshit that got put into that office. You're responsible for all the crap that happens while the person you put in that office is there. Me, on the other hand, who didn't even leave the house on election day, am in no way responsible for any of this shit and can complain all the fuck I want about the shit that you created. So it makes sense to me. So, and like I said, I know people aren't going to like most of the things that I'm saying. And I want to be perfectly clear. I'm not endorsing one candidate over the other. Like I said, Kamala Harris running is a big deal, because wasn't that long ago, it wouldn't even have been a thought for Kamala Harris to be a presidential candidate. So that's a big deal. That, that shows where the progress this country has made over the last couple hundred years. But it still doesn't, even if she gets elected, it doesn't, it's not going to make a huge difference. And maybe I'm wrong, and I'd be happy to be wrong on this. I do not get it twisted. I would be ecstatic to be wrong about some of the stuff I'm saying right now. But I'm not endorsing either candidate. I'm not endorsing either party. I believe in everyone's right to live their lives the way that is best for them without interference from government entities, whether it be federal, state, local, whatever. Okay. I don't think the government should have any say so in individuals' lives. Especially if the way that people live their lives is not causing harm to anyone else. If you're causing harm to other people, yeah, then that's on you. You're going to end up having some issues with some type of government agency, probably the police. But however you choose to live your life, if you're not hurting anybody, do your thing. That's what I believe in. And there's no political party, no political candidate that holds that value. The government always wants to have some type of say so over how people live their lives. And there's actually people out there that agree with that bullshit. Those are the people that scare me. Like, the government should be able to tell you what to do with your body. They should be able to tell you who you can and can't marry and all this kind of crap. Go fuck yourself. Government should not have that kind of power over anyone. The United States was founded on the government working for the people. The government enforcing the people's will, not the other way around, not enforcing their will on the people. That's called a dictatorship. That's called tyranny. That's the kind of shit this country was founded against. But, people don't see it that way. People think they have the right to interfere in other people's lives in every aspect of their lives, be it education or marriage or whatever, medical stuff. And no one should have a say so over any of this stuff. Nobody, except the person who is living their life. That's what I believe in. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't think that way. They think they should have a say so over, like I said, they should have a say so over who you can marry, what you can do with your body, how to raise your children, or even who should have children. It's insanity to me. So, like I said, we're, a few months from now, we're going to have another one of those big elections that we all like so much. And yeah, I will not be participating. Sorry to say. Actually, I'm not sorry to say. I will not be participating. But yeah, if you want to hear a more complete version of some of the stuff that I've said, look up George Carlin politics. Some interesting shit, and just listen to it for what it is. Listen to what he's actually saying. Forget the punchlines, forget the humor in it. Listen to what he's actually saying about politics and about voting and about the way that the country is run. Tell me the stuff he's saying isn't true. That's why I always refer to George Carlin as a philosopher, because as funny as he is, there's so much truth in things that he says. So yeah, like I said, look him up. Look up George Carlin politics and just watch. I'm sure you can find it on YouTube or wherever. But yeah, just check it out, because that's where a lot of this stuff that I'm saying is based on. But like I said, I find it true. This country was bought and sold and paid for a long time ago. The bullshit that they parade in front of us every few years doesn't mean a goddamn thing. So I think that's going to pretty much wrap me up for this week. I want to know what you guys think. Drop me some comments. Send me a DM, send me an email. There's always so much division in the country around election times. And that's another thing. I said it about religion. It's one of the most divisive things that humans have ever created. The same thing can be said for political elections, government elections. It is some of the most divisive stuff in the world. And it's all just opinions. It's all just, people having different thoughts, which is okay. There's no need to attack each other for thinking differently, but for some reason, some people take it as a personal insult if you don't think the same way that they do. That's just plain stupid. But like I said, I want to know what you guys think. Drop me some comments, shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. I want to know your guys' opinion on this stuff. Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm wrong? Do you think I'm out of my fucking mind? Tell me. I want to know. So, but again, thank you to everybody for checking out the show. I definitely appreciate all the views and stuff, and anybody who watches or listens, I thoroughly 100% appreciate it. And make sure you follow, like, subscribe, comment, rate, share. All that stuff really does help out the show. Make sure to follow on social media. It's at DILLIGAF_pod on all socials. And if you want to shoot me an email, dilligafpod@gmail.com, and you can find all of that stuff on my link tree, which is linktree/dilligafpod, or scan the QR code right here in the corner of the screen. Yeah, right there. And you can find links to everything regarding the show. So with that, I am going to say goodbye for now. And as always, if anyone has any issues with anything that I have said here today, ask yourself one question. Do I look like I give a fuck?